Hello there, fellow cultists. This is DMNL, and I'm back with another episode of Shadow Talk. And today we've got some catching up to do. I've been busy doing life stuff, and so missed a few things that have been happening here lately, and I need to get in there and get up to speed on them. So let's see what's happening here on the Schwalb Entertainment website. So the latest news is that we have some Weird Wizard previews. Looks like we have 3. And then we have a release. So for this video, I'm just going to talk about the Weird Wizard previews. And we'll talk about the release later. In fact, the Northern Reach Part 2, from the looks of it, looks like it's going to be a 3 or 4 part series. So I might just wait until all of them are out before I start talking about those. So that takes us back to the Weird Wizard and the previews. And the first one has to do with using tokens. So what are tokens? Well, stupid me, when I first read that, I was thinking, virtual tabletop tokens. Not what it is. So a token is an aspect of the Weird Wizard game that is not present in Shadow the Demon Lord. And so he's got basically a couple of different types of tokens. There are combat tokens, and the combat token is to unlock certain abilities or to reuse certain things or replenish certain things. And you use the combat tokens kind of as a currency to be able to do more than you would normally be able to do from a combat perspective. So according to this, your path contributes to the supply of combat tokens. The amount gained depends on how much your path makes use of it. You spend combat tokens to perform extra attacks, to aim, to perform combat maneuvers such as distance shot and drive back, or even to deal extra damage. Many talents also make use of combat tokens as well. Once you have spent a combat token, you lose access to them. And when new combat starts, you replenish your supply of tokens up to your maximum. So it sounds like this is like an encounter-based. These tokens you get every encounter. So it's not something that you would have to wait from a long rest in order to recoup them, which is pretty good. So then we have magic tokens. So magic tokens are they do things with those characters that have the ability to use magic. So like combat tokens, your path contributes to your supply of magic tokens, again, with the amount determined by how much a path depends on them. You can spend magic tokens to cast spells without having to expend castings. The number of tokens required depends on the spell level. Magic tokens can also be used to turn a failed roll into a successful one. Many paths also grant ways to spend magic tokens. The rogue gains the swift recovery talent at level 2. As a minor action, you can heal half your damage and then retreat. And you can use this talent once per day, but you can spend 1 magic token to regain use of this talent. So it sounds like not only for magic users, sounds like you can use a magic token to get back some of the things that you have expended. All right, once you spend magic tokens, you lose access to them until after a full night's rest. So unlike the combat tokens, which replenish when a new encounter starts, you have to wait until the next day to get your magic tokens back. Okay, so that should be interesting. We'll see how that works out in play. And so who do we have next? Here we've got traditions and spells in Weird Wizard. So traditions and spells are both a thing in Shadow the Demon Lord. So none of that is new. although it was interesting reading the first paragraph here, it talks about how Schwab was actually tinkering with doing away with traditions, but ultimately he landed back on them. I like traditions. I think they're a good way to organize magic, and you can do a lot of things with traditions. So I'm cool with the fact that he kept that. So Weird Wizard's going to include 33 traditions of magic, covering everything from alchemy to war magic. Each tradition includes a selection of spells organized into 4 tiers: starting, novice, expert, and master. So that's different from Shadow of the Demon Lord. So Shadow of the Demon Lord has spells ranked, well, spells by rank. So, you have a 0 rank spell, you have a 1 rank spell, a 2 rank spell, and so forth. So it looks like this is going to take a different approach and organize spells by tier. So you have your, I presume you would have your start. Yeah, it says right there. You have your starting tier spells, and you have your novice tier spells, and you have your expert tier spells, and you have your master tier spells. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 levels or 5 tiers of spells to use throughout your spellcasting career. So let's see. This is different also. Each spell tells you how many times you can cast it. Many starting spells give you a number of castings equal to 1 plus your group's level. Others enable you to cast them 3 times, but the more powerful spells grant you but a single casting. You recover expended castings after you finish a full night's rest, or use tokens. Remember, we just talked about that. Magic tokens. And here are some sample spells to give you an idea of form and function. So we have a spell called Soaring Leap, and it looks like you can cast a spell as a move, and you can cast this spell 3 times. So with a Soaring Leap, you jump into the air and land in a zone within 3 zones of you. And remember, this game uses the zone system rather than a grid. So we would have to know what a zone is in order for that to make sense. But my assumption is that the zone system will be similar to the zone system in other games, whereas you have a 3 or 4 zones. If you're in combat, that's like a close zone. If you're not in combat with somebody, then you would be in a near zone. And then if you are, a bit of distance away from everything else, then you'd be in a far zone, something along those lines. So this is saying that you can jump, you can land in a zone within 3 zones of you. So there are at least 3 zones. So we know that. All right, so Moon Frenzy, 1 creature within 3 zones. For a moment, the target's eyes shine with silvery light. Make an intellect roll against the target's will. If the target is in a zone lit by moonlight, you get an automatic success. If the target is in a zone lit by sunlight, you get an automatic failure. On a success, the target becomes will impaired. Luck ends. So this game has a luck mechanic associated with it. I think we may have touched upon that in a previous video, but I don't recall what that is off the top of my head, but it sounds like you'll be using luck to get out of situations like this. And until the affliction ends, the target uses an action to attack on each of its turns and chooses the targets of its attacks at random, treating its allies as its enemies. In addition, the target grants 1 boon on rolls to attack it. If the target took damage during the round, it makes the luck roll to end the affliction with 1 bane. So it looks like to end afflictions, you use the luck roll for that. All right, if you fail your intellect roll, make a luck roll. On a success, you regain the casting you expended to cast a spell. All right, so that's the first one. Second one is Fling Through Time. 1 creature was in 3 zones. If the target disappears, roll intellect and note the result of your roll. At the end of each round, roll a d6 and subtract the number rolled from the result. When the result drops to 0 or less, the target reappears in the space it vacated or an empty space nearest to it. When the target reappears, make a luck roll. On a failure, you become stunned until the end of your round, or your next turn. Alright, then we've got a spell called Beware the Black Door. And it targets one creature in your zone. So it looks like the spell descriptions are a bit simpler than Demon Lord. Looks like they include casting, effect, target, and that's it from at least the sampling that we have here. All right, so Beware the Black Door affects one creature within your zone. Make a will roll with 3 Banes and take 46 damage on a failure. Ouch. Then a stone door frame. Okay, that should not have been that hard. Appears in the space behind the target and remains there for 24 hours, at which time it vanishes. Darkness prevails inside the frame. When the frame appears, pale hands snatch the target and drag it into the darkness. Until the spell ends, a creature that moves through the frame vanishes into the darkness. Anyone inside the darkness is trapped between worlds until it can find its way free and emerge from the door into the nearest empty space. Any creature still inside the darkness when the spell ends must wait until another door opens from a casting of this spell and can then resume trying to find its way free. While the door is open, a creature trapped in the darkness contends with the horrors it finds there. The darkness prevents a creature from gaining nourishment or food or drink and makes sleeping impossible. Sleeping impossible. The nature of these horrors are left to the imagination, but can be quickly resolved with rolls. The trapped creature makes a strength agility roll, intellect roll, will roll, and a luck roll. One of its choice on each of its turns. Once the creature succeeds the roll, it need not make that roll again. If the creature fails a roll, 1d6 hours pass before it can make the next roll. Okay. Then we have a spell called Tear Free the Still Beating Heart. Sounds like it would fit just fine in Demon Lord. You are under the requirement. You are under the effect of your Tooth and Claw spell. One creature in your zone. Your clawed hand darts out to punch into the target's chest. The target takes 10d6 damage. Ouch. If the target becomes injured as a result, it takes an extra 10d6 damage. Holy crap. If the target becomes incapacitated, you rip free its heart or similar organ, and the target dies. Each creature that sees you kill the target in this way makes a will roll, and on a failure, becomes frightened of you. It should. Luck ends. All right. Let's see. Terror Free the Still Beating Heart. Yeah. All right. So the last spell on this preview is called Break the Rules. Effect, you can perform each of the following options once before the spell ends. The spell lasts 1 hour. And then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bullet points of different rules you can break with this spell, including turn a failed roll into a successful one, automatically evade any pursuers in a chase, grant 3 boons on the next roll a creature in your zone makes before the end of your next turn, impose 3 banes on the next roll a creature in your zone makes before the end of your next turn, heal all damage, regain all health lost, cast an expert, novice, or starting spell without expending a casting or without having to know the spell, deal maximum damage for attack, remove all afflictions from yourself, ignore one feature in a zone such as obscurement, challenging terrain, or damaging hazard until this effect ends. Alrighty then. Well, these are interesting spells. So one thing I am confused about is that it said that each spell tells you how many times you can cast it, but this one doesn't, and this one doesn't, unless I missed it, and this one doesn't. So yeah, maybe there's just omitted from this example. But anyway, okay, so that is the traditions and spells in Weird Wizard. Then we have the last preview that was sent out, and that is enemies in Weird Wizard. And so this is talking about the monsters, and it gives a monster as an example, the Green Gorger. So in the Secrets of the Weird Wizard book, which also contains details about the setting and guidance for running the game, you'll find a wide range of enemies to test the group's mettle. From the start, I wanted to make it easy to and this is Schwalb talking, to use enemies in combat while providing interesting options to make battle scenes more memorable. Some enemies might be fought in numbers, such as the Green Gorger, or fought alone, such as the dragon that appears after. So we've got a Green Gorger here. Looks like it's got description text, then it's got the actual stat block, which looks fairly similar to Demon Lord, but it does look like it's simplified a bit. So we have the monster name, we have a level, so they have levels now. So this is a level 4 type monster. So it's a level 4 and the type is monster. It's got dark vision. It's got defense of 15, health of 50. Then it's got its ability scores, and it's immune to frightened and poison. And then it has the following abilities: Rampage, melee attack, double attack, digger, and aggressive. It looks like there's some keywords after some of these, like double attack is an action, digger has a move, and then aggressive has a reaction. Okay, so there's that. Then we have a dragon. So everybody wants to know how dragons work in any fantasy game. So this dragon is level 11. It's a large solitary monster. It has true vision. It's got its language archaic. Defense 11. Defense 11, that's not very great. Health 300. 300, that's impressive. Strength 18, agility 11, 13 intellect, and 18 will. Then it's got some immunities. It's got fearsome impose 1 bane on attack rolls. On rolls to attack it by enemies not immune to the frightened affliction. Enhance intellect. Nigh invulnerable. And then mighty fall. I think that's kind of like the same as with giants, if I remember correctly. Then we have extra reaction. Dragon Fury. And then it can use these attack forms. So yeah, dragon is not an easy stat block. I mean, it's pretty complicated. It's got a lot of stuff. So so yeah, there's that. Anyway, let's see what it can do. It can special movement, fly, melee attack, teeth strength with 2 boons against defense, 66 damage plus 2d6 from fire. Melee attack, claws, strength with 2 boons against defense. On a success, the target takes 46 damage. Ouch. Okay, what else? Claw, bite action. Fire breath, action. Dive and snatch is an action. Creature grab moves with the dragon, and when it moves and loses a d6 health at the end of its round. Ooh, it loses actual health. That's not cool. Now, I'm not sure if... I'm assuming it's the same as Demon Lord, but I don't know because I haven't looked at the playtest materials very closely. But I assume we still have damage that's accumulated, and health is only affected, only directly, only rarely. So that's my assumption. I'm sticking to it. We have the dragon do a dust storm, has bloodied breath, and slashing tail. Okay, so dragons look pretty respectable, although it's a fairly long stat block, so hopefully there's a way to kind of condense that. All right, so not a whole huge difference from the monster stat blocks here than they are in Shadow Demon Lord. So that's good, because I didn't think that anything was broken with the stat blocks in Shadow Demon Lord, so there's no need to mess with it too terribly much. Okay, so that is the last preview. So let's see, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 previews for Demon Lord for Weird Wizard, and we have a Kickstarter that's coming up in June. So I think that means that we'll probably get maybe 4 more. If we're lucky, we'll get 4 more previews. Maybe, we'll see. But if, hopefully we will, because I will be looking forward to them. But, you never know. You don't want to give away everything before your Kickstarter. All right, so that's it as far as this video is concerned. Let me go ahead and stop here. I want to thank you all for watching. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and the little bell icon to get notifications whenever I send out a new video. And that's all I got for today. So I am out. What do I normally say here? Hail the Demon Lord? That's it. Okay. How do I turn this damn thing off? There it is.